Getting you ready for the Orange and Georgia Tech, and we got to chat with the man of the hour, Dan Villari, after a sensational game at Yankee Stadium and the win over Pittsburgh. And I guess we'll call you Orange football player, Dan Villari. You're tight end, but you're also the co-ACC Running Back of the week. I don't know how to make sense of all of this.
I think I play offense. I think you could say I play offense, but yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, and such a great game for you. How much fun was it as just being like a true football player to play that style of offense, that old school ground and pound offense, and get the win, of course?
Yeah, I think that's truly what I am, is just a football player, and it was so great to just go out there and run the ball like that and get the win, man. We really needed that win, and I had a blast, especially in Yankee Stadium, 40 minutes from my home, so it was awesome.
Yeah, it almost feels like kind of a dream story. Like you've been through a journey, and I know it was tough for you probably switching to tight end initially, but does it just sort of feel like a culmination of hard work and everything, especially getting to do it in front of all those family and friends?
Yeah, like I said on the Mob podcast yesterday, I said I used to wear a bracelet that says better days are coming. So I always believed it, and I feel like now I'm approaching those days, and it's just going to get better and better.
Yeah.
Sure.
What was your reaction when the coaching staff came to you guys with the game plan last week leading into that Pittsburgh matchup and said, here's what we're going to do, and Dan, you're going to be a big factor in it?
It was shocking. It was very shocking, but I just said, Coach, let's do it. I'm going to go 100%, and, I'm used to running the ball, so I was fine with it, but we had to rally everybody and really get everybody on board, and that was tough at first, but obviously by the end of the week, everybody bought in, and we went out there and we whooped some ass. So.
Yeah, no doubt. What does it say about the coaching staff, Jason Beck, Coach Babers, that they can do that on a quick notice and get everyone in line with the game plan?
I mean, it was an unbelievable move by them.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have never thought of something like that, and shout out to Coach Beck, Coach Babers, the rest of the staff. I mean, they got it in, and they didn't ask any questions. They just, the assistant coaches didn't ask any questions. They just went right to work and got us ready for it. So shout out to them for that.
And you had some practice back in your high school days doing a little Wildcat, right?
Yeah. I ran the ball like plus 10 times a game. Threw it less than 5. So I was a heavy quarterback run in high school.
Okay, gotcha. Well, we talked about it a little bit, but you said you had 75 family and friends at Yankee Stadium for that game. So I got to ask, who do you think was the loudest of the 75 family and friends that were in attendance?
My brother Dylan was the loudest. He had a few to drink, and he called me about 15 times after the game, and he was loud on the phone. So I know he was the loudest for sure.
What about, who do you think was the most nervous? Was that Mom?
I would say Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mom's definitely nervous with the injuries, but I would just say Mom. My uncles, they understand what it comes with.
Yeah. Did you grow up a Yankee fan at all, with the proximity?
Yeah, I wasn't I played baseball, but I didn't watch much baseball. Mm-hmm. But me and my friends always Yankee fans. For sure, Yankee fan.
Yeah, and you talked about how once the game ended, you kind of looked up at that section. Where were they seated and everything after the game, that moment?
They weren't on the first level, but they were like up high on the second level. And they all put their hands up like this and pointed at me, and I heard them from all the way up there. I heard them, and it was a crazy moment. And I was like, wow, man, I got a great family.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Hard work pays off, and I know, like you said earlier, you guys needed a win like this. Now do you feel like the buy-in in the locker room, the confidence level is high going into the last 2 regular season games?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a ton of momentum, and we had a really good practice today. Real physical practice, too, surprisingly. And, I think we're feeling good right now.
Awesome. And we got to ask you a little bit about Garrett and LeQuint as well, and the offensive line. I mean, we're talking a lot about you, but it starts with the offensive line and some of those other guys stepping up for sure. There was some chatter about LeQuint in practice, giving a speech last week. Everything I hear about him, and even when I interact with him, people just talk about his motor, his want. And can you speak to that a little bit and how much fun it is to be battling out there with LeQuint and the rest of those guys?
Yeah, like I say, I'll go to war with that kid. I mean, since the day he stepped on campus, he's been a leader and an alpha. And, everybody should go out there and play and put it on the line like he does. I mean, he puts his body on the line every single day, and it's so motivating to see a guy play so hard for his team, and it just makes you want to go that much harder for him. So for sure, shout out to LeQuint.
Yeah, and shout out to the offensive line. I heard they got a standing ovation at the film study, right?
They did. They all deserve a game ball. I got the game ball, but I wish I can cut pieces off and give it to all of them because they deserve it so much. And they really they were very resilient to come back from that BC game and open up those holes for me like that. I mean, those guys are unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, Dan, I'm sure you're getting a lot of interview requests this week off the big game, but we appreciate the time. It's been quite the journey for you, and hard work pays off for sure. So best of luck the rest of the season.
Appreciate it. Go Orange.
That's Dan Villari.